Welcome everybody. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm very grateful for every single body that showed up here on a Friday morning. I'm very grateful for the Creative Morning team and also the Hoopram team for allowing us all together here as a creative community. My name is Angelique, and I see myself as an emotional literacy consultant, and I'm also an embodiment coach. And I'm here to talk today about making sense of all those feelings, emotional awareness and action for authentic self-leadership. And I know this is a mouthful. So, put very simply, I'm going to talk about emotions. And to kick us off, because I'm also very curious about the emotional state and awareness in this room, raise your hand if you ever consciously suppressed a really strong emotion, swallowed it down during an important business meeting to prevent an emotional outburst. Okay. Raise your hand if you ever found yourself hiding in the restroom at work crying because of all the pressure. And raise your hand if you, in your desperation, turned to Google and searched for how to get rid of emotions. Okay. So, if you are just slightly an average human being with about 400 emotional experiences per day, chances are pretty high you probably raised your hand. Wanted to raise your hand, raised it for a friend. And this is essentially my relationship with emotions, feelings, a couple years ago. For me, when I felt a feeling or an emotion being injected somehow into my body, I was like, oh no, please not right now. Especially the strong and uncomfortable ones, like anger, sadness, frustration, the really overwhelming feelings sometimes. And for me, I really applied all my energy to contain this ocean of emotion inside of me. Because I had this fear that someday, if I wouldn't pay enough attention, this ocean of emotion would just burst outside of me and flood everything and wash away the entire human existence. And this was really a true fear for me. So you can imagine that I applied all the energy I had to contain this, to build walls, to build dams, to make sure I'm masking emotions that I didn't feel were comfortable. And I was tired. I was exhausted. I felt like I was really compromising a lot of my authenticity, especially at work, where I spent most of my time. I really noticed that something was missing in my life. Almost like a little spark, this like feeling of vibrancy, this aliveness. And one day, my embodiment teacher told me, Angelique, you are not tired of your emotions. You are tired of controlling them. And I don't know if you know those, or if you have those moments when somebody says something really profound, and you sit there and your world stops as if somebody pushed a pause button. And you just sit there and think, oh, damn, this person is right. What I've been doing was exactly this. I controlled my emotion. I used all my energy to hold the door so those plates would not come out. Because that is what I learned. From being a young child, I learned to control my emotions instead of navigating them. So I asked myself, why is it that I'm so afraid of my emotions? Why is it that I'm so afraid to be present with them, to actually allow them coming up and show who I am, show some truths of me? Because emotions are very much from our core. They hold some of our existential truths in some way. And then I noticed, oh wow, there are so many myths and narratives around emotions that we have as a society, especially when it's about emotions at work. And the myth that I strongly believed was this one, that being emotional means I'm being out of control. So essentially, there was this story, I believe, that when I was emotional, when an emotion came up, that somehow I lost all my ability to think rationally, to act appropriately. I was this like wild human being out of control. And this myth is actually very much ingrained in our culture. It starts very early with the ancient Greek philosophers discussing about the existence of the soul, talking about logic and emotion, and over the time, logic finding its spot somewhere over here, and emotion, their spot was somewhere down there, kind of like being looked at and seen as something soft, something weak. But when we look at the facts, emotions are a natural reaction of our body, and they actually help us to make sense of the world, to make sense of what's happening inside of us and outside of us. They are full of data and insights that, if we're not controlling them, but navigating them, can actually help us to become more self-emotionally aware and to live a more authentic life. For me, this myth in particular, and many others, led me to walk through life like this, like a brain on a stick. But we're not brains on a stick. We are bodies. We are human bodies. And I literally forgot that because I was controlling my emotions so hard. The interesting thing is, so when we are doing this, walking around like brains on a stick and not connecting to our body, we actually lose a lot of information, crucial existential information for our well-being. There's some pretty cool research done in Finland. And the scientists in this study, they asked a couple people, hey, can you body map the sensations you're feeling when you have particular emotions? So they found out that across the board, there were actually a lot of similarities. A lot of people felt when they were happy, it was this like full body experience. The heart racing, the face really active, especially around the mouth, like we're smiling, and maybe some warmth going through the whole body or particular parts. When we're angry, it feels like a lot of activation in our upper part, especially our jaw gets really tense. And we have a lot of activation in the hands. You might have noticed this as well, that your hands get really tense when you're super angry. And fear. Fear is a sensation most of us experience as an activation in the head, especially around the eyes. You get this like tunnel vision. And also our feet. The rest of our legs feel kind of neutral, but our feet are really activated to just run away. Because it makes sense, right? We're afraid. So this study really shows how important it is that we connect to our body, that we start to listen to our body. And many of us need to relearn exactly just that. How we can tune into our body to understand, am I hungry? Do I need to go to the restroom? Ooh, my heart is racing, my jaw is clenching. Something is happening in my environment or inside of me. And many times I get asked this question, but how do I do that? How can I feel my emotions? How can I actually tune into those sensations? And we actually have a pretty cool sense that's innate in all of us. We all know the very common 5 senses that connect us to the outside world. And we have a sense that's called interoception. And simply put, this sense allows us to answer the question, how am I feeling in any given moment? So it allows us to tune inside and get internal signals about our body. And we can train this sense, we can make a muscle out of it. And I want to do a little quick exploration with you. And this interoceptive awareness that we have. 3-4 minutes, nothing very long. And for this, I invite you to find a comfortable position. And I see most of you are already in a very comfortable position. But let's see if you can ideally have both feet on the ground. Rest your hands somewhere in your lap. And then straighten your spine if that feels comfortable. You can also lean against the chair or couch. Let your shoulders hang loose. So as if they're, just like sink down a couple centimeters. You can soften your jaw, because this is something that loves to get tense, especially during a long week. And then I invite you to close your eyes. If that doesn't feel comfortable today, then just soften your gaze a little bit towards your toes, so that you're very much in your own experience right now. And firstly, that's actually everything I'm inviting you for the remaining minutes, to be in your own experience and just follow my voice. So first, I'd like you to notice all the parts of you that are connecting with the outer world. So the feet on the ground, connecting with the earth, your sit bones on the chair or couch, maybe your back on the couch. And then observe your breath. Nothing to change there. Just notice, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. For a couple of breaths. And then check in with yourself and answer, how am I feeling right now? This might be easier for some, harder for others. You might find many things you're feeling, one thing, nothing. Just notice, how are you feeling right now? There's no right or wrong. And now, where in your body do you sense, how are you feeling right now? Tune in inside your body. How do you know through your body how you're feeling right now? You might find a tense spot, a soft spot. Just explore that for a little bit. How is your body showing you how you're feeling? Emotions are a very physical experience. They are essentially energy in motion throughout your body. So sense that energy. And to emphasize that they are exactly just that, emotional energy in motion, I invite you to ask yourself what we already started with at the beginning. To notice how you're feeling right now, but this time, instead of saying, I'm nervous, I'm exhausted, I'm grateful, I'm neutral, turn it into, I notice exhaustion. I notice frustration. I notice neutrality. So do this for a couple moments. What is it you notice? And if we do that, if we say actually to ourselves, we notice something, we already start to create space between the emotion and us, between the emotion and our reaction. So we don't over-identifying with the emotion, so we're not becoming our anger, we're not becoming our happiness, but we're actually creating awareness for that. That is what we're sensing. So I invite you to let go anything that is there right now, or hold it softly and bring your awareness back to your breath. And take 3 more deep breaths in your own tempo. And make the last breath maybe the deepest breath you've been taking all week. So slowly you can come back to the room. You can keep your eyes closed and open them, whatever feels good to you right now. So with this little exploration of our internal sense, this is actually what I tell people when they ask, okay, how to make sense of all those feelings? How can I become emotionally more aware to bring more authenticity to my life? And the first thing is this: listen to your body. And the second thing is this: create some space. I mean, it's all about creating space in any given time, I feel like, as a human being. Because in this space, we find some freedom to react and some freedom to really check in with our values, our needs, etc. And this is where emotion can guide us. This is the foundation of everything that starts with emotions. So if you're like, I want to start to become more emotionally aware, or I should look at my emotions, or I want to learn how to actually feel again, relearn how to feel, befriending your emotions, and for whom this sounds a little scary, acknowledging your emotions is the first step. I actually love the topic of befriending my emotions. I'm very passionate. My business partner always say I'm very passionate about emotions. I actually think I'm a little bit obsessed about emotions. But it's really this topic that I feel like we're not talking about enough. So I decided I'm going to make it my profession. And I joined Zen & Go well-being consultancy. And my amazing business partner, Sophie, and I, we are working with companies to bring more emotional awareness and mindfulness into the daily operations of organizations. We do this through different formats. We always really want to have interactive formats, and formats that are on one side allowing us to intellectually understand emotions and really bust all the myths around them, and on the other side to really tune into our bodies and understand the embodied side of what it means to be a human being. We have different formats that we apply there. And if there's one thing I invite you to take away from today's talk, it's don't do it like me and waste all your energy on controlling your emotions, because quite honestly, it makes you sick. Rather, use your energy to start navigating your emotions. And a very easy first step is start to listen to your body and perceive what is there. Thank you very much.